The Rotary Club of Evansville and special invited guests gathered today to present Brian and Barbara Williams with one of our region's most prestigious awards.
What a pleasure it is to reflect upon my friends and fellow Scouters, Brian and Barbara Williams. Brian has been involved in Scouting since he first put on a Cub Scout uniform in early grade school. He has gone on to serve in local, regional, and national positions in the Boy Scouts of America.
Barbara Williams is a really remarkable lawyer. She's a superb lawyer on high-end transactions, high-end issues that people bring to her. She also knows a lot about the smaller matters that trouble individual people.
They voted him the most likely to succeed in our yearbook in 8th grade. Well, I think he's pretty much done that. Our senior year, he did the introductions to the music when we would sing a song in the concert choir.
The North High School Concert Choir, under the direction of Mr. Jerry Hoover, proudly presents a musical program specifically designed for your listening enjoyment.
Barbara Williams is probably the best role model for women in our community that I can think of. She truly is the example of the woman who can bring home the bacon, fry it up in the pan. She's a wife, she's a mother, and she's a very successful professional businesswoman.
I've known Brian and Barbara Williams in a personal and church context for a number of years, and I cannot say to you how much and how deserving they are of today's award.
Well, one of the things that Brian has been recognized for is his ability and willingness to mentor others. I experienced this personally when I came on the board of the Buffalo Trace Council in the early 90s when Brian was president. He went out of his way to explain background and context for business issues being presented to the board, allowing me to serve more effectively as a board member from the start.
There aren't a lot of people who are a combination of kind of the upper echelon sort of litigator, somebody who understands high-end situations, but somebody's always got her eye likewise on things that affect average citizens. It's a wonderful tribute to the way she's lived her life as a lawyer.
And he took on the project of the canoe launch out off of North Green River Road. Brian single-handedly handled more grants, more contacts, built more relationships in raising the funds for that project than anyone else in the club. He did the follow-through, he wrote the reports, the original applications. He just has that willingness to go above and beyond, do all that it takes when it comes to a project that he believes in. And he truly believed in the canoe launch, as we all did, and now it's a fabulous reality for our community. Who could ask for anything more?
Just because she's not real tall, I still wouldn't want to deal with her. I mean, she's all spunk, and we all love her. Barbara, for instance, was involved in the Women's Olympic Hockey Committee at one time. And that's pretty amazing, somebody from Evansville, Indiana, to be involved in something like that.
If you look at the list of people over the decades who've won the Rotary Civic Award, it's like reading the history of Evansville. You can read that list and see people whose names over time, they and their comrades have been associated with making the city what it is. And when I got done reading that list, I said, people 10 or 20 or 30 years from now will look at this list again. They'll see Brian and Barbara Williams and they'll say, oh yes, they made a lot of effort and a lot of progress to make Evansville better.
In addition to her being an attorney, she started out in the library world, which of course was my world for almost 45 years. She and I worked together as a team when she was president of the library board and before I retired. She is enthusiastic, a great supporter of learning, education in all forms, children, literacy, and social issues.
Well, Brian's very easy to work with and always complimentary of others' work, always supportive. He You always know where he stands. He's always fair in his dealings with everyone.
One of the things that doesn't get enough publicity about Brian Williams is the role he has played over and over and over again in the economic development of Southwest Indiana. He's connected to many of the institutions that have placed Southwest Indiana in the happy position we now find ourselves in, a period of growth and expectation and advancement. And Brian Williams has been the lawyer who's helped to make many of those things happen.
Brian and Barbara Williams' willingness to take on large leadership roles in the community and supporting one another in that work is part of what makes them so perfect to receive this award this year.
My wife died 8 years ago from cancer. Within 10 minutes of her dying, Brian was at my house. And what can you say? If you got a friend like that, you know you've got a friend.
A wonderful combination, and certainly epitomizes Rotary's motto of service above self.
One of the characteristics of their commitment there is that it has gone on for decades. And there's hardly a board or a project or some kind of matter to advance the ball that both of them haven't put their shoulder to the wheel on, and it's especially true for young people. There are a whole generation of young people who owe a lot to Brian and Barbara Williams.
Brian and Barbara, congratulations. You're certainly deserving, and we celebrate with you.
Barbara and Brian together are a fabulous combination, and we are very lucky that they chose Evansville to be their home.
Barbara and Brian, congratulations on this award. Well deserved, and appreciate having you in my life for all these years.